This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Honda is slashing its investment in pure electric vehicles and will instead put more focus on hybrids. It previously forecast that it would hit 30% EV market share by 2030, but the company blames a slowdown in the expansion of EVs for no longer expecting to hit that goal. In order to reach that 30% EV share, Honda was planning to invest nearly $70 billion through its 2031 fiscal year, but now it's slashing almost $21 billion from that total. The cuts come in the form of delaying its EV hub in Canada, as well as delays in investment for building EVs in other factories and, quote, optimization of its lineup. But one area where it's not making any cuts is software. Honda is developing its all-new ADAS system that will be able to navigate hands-free on expressways and surface streets. And it says it will start rolling it out to its lineup in Japan and North America around 2027. As we said, that lineup is going to include a lot more hybrids. By the end of the decade, Honda expects to sell roughly 3.6 million vehicles, and about 2.2 million of those will be hybrids. The ramp up really comes around 2027 when it introduces its all-new hybrid setup, which kind of acts more like a range extender, so the system operates more often in EV mode. Honda says it will improve fuel economy by over 10%, while costs will be down more than 30% compared to the current hybrid system. The company is also working on a hybrid system specifically for larger vehicles that are aimed at the North American market and will be out in the latter half of the 2020s. Honda sees motorcycles as another growth area as well. Right now, about 50 million motorcycles are sold around the world. By 2030, Honda expects that to grow by another 10 million units, so the company is going to improve both its ICE and EV motorcycle lineup with the aim of grabbing even more market share and a better return on sales. And while many automakers like Honda are scaling back EV plans, battery companies are raising some serious cash. Last week, battery maker CATL raised $4.6 billion in its Hong Kong trading debut, which is the world's largest listing this year. Its shares also increased 16% earlier today, and because of that success, CATL can exercise an option to increase its fundraising to $5.3 billion. And U.S. battery materials startup GDI says it raised an additional $11.5 million to scale up production of its silicon anodes for EV batteries in the U.S. and Europe. The company has now raised more than $20 million. GDI says its anodes are 30% more energy dense than graphite anodes and can help charge an EV in less than 15 minutes. It expects them to be in battery cells for non-automotive products in the next 24 to 30 months and in electric vehicles by 2030. Subaru is raising prices of its vehicles in the U.S. While the automaker said it's doing so because of, quote, current market conditions and didn't cite tariffs, we can only assume those are the market conditions Subaru is talking about. The company will raise prices starting next month anywhere between $750 and $2,055 depending on the model and trim. Subaru relies heavily on imports for the U.S. According to S&P Global Mobility, the automaker imports 45% of the vehicles it sells in the region. And in other Subaru news, the automaker named a new chairman and CEO of its American operations, Yoichi Horii. Horii actually started the new role on April 1st, but the company is only making the announcement now. Horii has been with Subaru since 1996 and has held numerous positions in the US and Japan, including product and corporate planning.
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
Hey there! Enjoy what you're watching? Then consider becoming an Autoline member. Just click the Join button on the Autoline Network YouTube homepage, or we've also set up a Patreon account under Autoline. Now, Absolutely nothing will change with the content that we already provide you. But we're giving exclusive access to even more, like early viewing of Autoline exclusives, behind-the-scenes videos, and even live Q&As with John and I. We've got another automotive casualty of President Trump's trade war with China. General Motors is going to stop exporting American-made Cadillacs, GMCs, and Corvettes to China. The vehicles, like Escalades, Tahoes, and Hummers, were being sold through a new sales outlet in China called the Durant Guild, named after Billy Durant, the entrepreneur who started GM. Even though the sales numbers would be rather low, GM saw this as an opportunity to increase the market share for its most profitable vehicles. China recently lowered its tariffs on U.S.-made cars from 130 to 10%, but it's just a temporary reduction, and GM decided there was too much uncertainty to keep the exports going. And yet, GM is going to continue importing Chinese-made Buick Envisions into the U.S. Rivian keeps doing impressive work to design cost, complexity, and assembly time out of its vehicles. R.J. Scaringe, the founder and CEO, posted the latest improvements they made to the wiring harness of the R2, the $45,000 midsize SUV that's supposed to launch in the first half of next year. Compared to the wiring harness of the second-generation R1, which the company showed off last year, the new harness on the R2 cuts weight by an impressive 20 kilos or 44 pounds. And it gets rid of 2.3 miles of wiring, as well as 60% of wiring connectors. And keep in mind that wiring connectors typically are a high warranty item. So the fewer you have, the better your quality should be. This is all thanks to Rivian's centralized zonal compute system, the one that the Volkswagen Group is paying nearly $6 billion to use in its cars. And speaking of the R1S and R1T, it looks like Rivian needs to keep them in production for at least another 6 years to amortize the investment cost. Auto Forecast Solutions says the next-gen R1s don't go into production until 2031. Not long ago, Stellantis made headlines that it was testing solid-state batteries in one of its EVs, but those were semi-solid-state batteries. However, there are a few tests going on with full solid-state batteries, which have better energy density, storage, charging, and safety. BMW revealed that it's testing large-format versions of the cells from a US-based company called Solid Power, which also includes Ford and SK Innovation as investors. The batteries have been integrated into a BMW i7 sedan, and it's the first time the two companies have done any road tests, which they'll use for data collection. And Chinese automaker Chery was spotted testing a model from one of its brands with an all-solid-state battery, which is expected to return up to 1,500 kilometers or about 930 miles of range on the Chinese test cycle. The model is currently scheduled to hit the market sometime in 2027. And speaking of EV batteries, the packs in Volvo's new long-haul electric truck are massive. It can have up to 8 packs that combine for 780 kilowatt hours, which provides up to 600 kilometers or about 370 miles of range. The trucks, which can be ordered in the second half of next year, come standard with megawatt charging capability that allows them to charge from 20 to 80% in 40 minutes, which also happens to be the same amount of time that truckers in the EU are required to rest between hauls. We want to give a shout out to our viewer, Brennan Harvath, who was cruising around the suburbs north of Detroit when he ran across all these Teslas parked door to door in a parking lot of a strip mall. He wanted to know what the heck all these Teslas are doing there, which are not near any Tesla store or distribution center. Well, we have no clue whatsoever. But if any of you have an idea, we'd love to hear from you. And by the way, if you know the Detroit area, this parking lot is on the southwest corner of 14 Mile and Orchard Lake Road. But that wraps up today's report. Thanks for watching.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Intrepid Control Systems. Over-the-air engineering boost your game. Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility, and by
Developing today's vehicles, issues can happen in an instant. What good is knowing your problems without the data to solve them? Meet Wireless Neovi Cloud, your secure off-the-shelf solution, empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless Neovi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Neovi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.